Well, closer to home, the spring primary is tomorrow, and while Eau Claire voters won't send anyone to office, it will affect who's on the ballot in April. Elliot Adams has more.
With in-person absentee voting over, Eau Claire's elections office is putting together the final touches for Tuesday's election. Currently, election staff are delivering supplies to the city's dozen-plus polling locations. For Eau Claire voters, the ballots will feature the 3 candidates for the State Department of Public Instruction superintendent race. After Tuesday, the top 2 vote-getters will face off in April. During in-person absentee voting, City Clerk Christina Kuzma said some were surprised at the short ballot.
We did have some people coming in thinking that the Supreme Court race was also on the ballot, and a lot of people were surprised that it was just the one race in general. So we really do want to get the word out that the only thing on the ballot is the primary race for the State Superintendent of Public Instruction.
That state Supreme Court race will be decided in the April election. So far, the county clerk's office is forecasting only about 5 to 10% of eligible voters will vote. That's compared to previous similar races. That low turnout is reflected in how many people voted early at City Hall, with Kuzma saying they averaged about 20 voters a day during in-person absentee voting.
Thanks, Elliot. The best way to learn what to bring and where and when to show up to vote is by going to myvote.wi.gov. As we said, the one race everyone will have a chance to vote on is the state superintendent race. That's the position that oversees schools in Wisconsin. 3 candidates are running, but only 2 will move on to the general election in April. Madison Rios has you covered on the key issues the candidates say they want to address.
The 3 candidates for state superintendent are encouraging voters to brave the cold tomorrow and hit the polls. Incumbent Jill Underly is up for re-election, and she has 2 challengers. Brittany Kinzer is an education consultant, and Jeff Wright is currently the superintendent of Sauk Prairie Schools. Whoever is elected will oversee the Department of Public Instruction. Issues that are top of mind in this race include the privatization of education, closing achievement gaps between students, and increasing literacy rates. One thing both Kinzer and Wright agree on is the need for change in our state's funding formula. Wright tells me the current formula creates a system of have and have-nots.
Some districts that have the resources and the wealth to pass a referendum, not only to keep programs alive, but to add new programs all of the time. And then we have other districts that try a referendum over and over and over again, can't pass it, which means that they're not only unable to add new programs, they're actually scaling back programs to the bare minimum.
Kinzer calls the formula outdated and reassures voters she will advocate for change.
Promise that I will work with experts, work with the legislature and the governor to make sure that there is fair funding, because there are, people's taxes are going up. It's not working for many districts.
I reached out to all 3 candidates. However, Underly was not available for an interview ahead of the primary. She visited La Crosse last week, where she said she is against school vouchers due to their impact on funding for public schools.
I think there'll be a very clear choice between the candidate that's a pro-public school candidate and the candidate that's in favor of privatization and vouchers.
All 3 candidates will be on tomorrow's ballot. The 2 candidates with the most votes will move on to the April ballot.